Hey guys, it's me. Woo, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? So I see Cutie, I see Lipstick, Chatter, I see Dr. Jared. Hey lady, Legacy Cousins. What's going on? 357 James. Hey Tamisa, my bigger pick. Hey lady, how you doing? Latrice, yes. Jenny B, Jinky B, okay. Hi ladies and gentlemen. Tiff's right, yes. What's going on, guys? Let me tell you guys. I am so loving my new. I finally got I had my big ring light for probably about a month, right? But I couldn't find the right pole because all the poles were like 6 feet tall, right? And I'm sitting and then I'm short. I'm like only 5'2". If you've never met me in person, I'm itty bitty, right? I'm vertically challenged. And so, here I am, itty bitty me. And I'm sitting. So I needed like a 4-foot pole. Literally, I needed a 4-foot pole so I could look eye to eye with the camera. So I finally found one, searched and searched, finally found one on Amazon. You know, of course, my favorite place to shop. Finally found one short enough for me to do this. Hello, my Forbes Coaches Council sister. Yes. Hey, Latrice. We are members of the Forbes Coaches Council. That is the Forbes magazine. I'm one of their coaches. So anyway, today I'm super duper excited. I got an announcement, so hang on to your little panties, hang on to your tutti fruities, hang on to anything that you can have. Buckle your seatbelt, buckle up, right? Because I got an announcement at the end that you guys have been asking me for all year, and I've been a little stubborn, and I was like, I'm not doing it, so now I'm doing it, okay? So let's talk about community building. I'm going to tell you some fun facts about community building. So here's the first thing. Everybody needs to know. You guys share this out right now. Oh, you know what? I didn't even give a shout out. For those of you who are joining me for the first time, my name is Jay Stone. I am a master brand coach based out of Atlanta, Georgia. I've been doing this thing over 15 years, y'all, full time. And I help business owners create profitable brands without compromising their quality of life. In other words, I help you make money without driving yourself crazy. Okay, that's me in a nutshell. So if this is your first time joining the Live Hive, type POP in the comments. If it's your first time here, type POP in the comments. POP means power of Periscope. Tiff, this is your first time here. Tiff, you've been here before. You're part of the original Live Hive. So for the first timers, welcome. Everybody say welcome. Get some followers back from Antigua, Anguilla. You got excited, Tiff? You got excited? Okay, welcome to all the newbies. But if you are part of the original Scope Squad, now known as the Live Hive, let's see you get live with a POP in the comments. I go POP in the comments. Ooh. Say, ooh. What a Live Hive. Come on, hashtag Live Hive. Where you at? Show me some. Really? Y'all ain't typing? Y'all ain't typing for real? Y'all making me look bad. You're making me look bad. Okay. So let's move on. y'all, I thought we'd get it crunk up in here. Nobody's cranking with me. Nobody's crunked with me tonight. So let me go on and get to the content. All right. So, y'all still didn't type POP. Thank you, Latrice. Golly. See, Forbes Coaches Council come through. The rest of y'all sleep. Wake up. Okay. So moving on to the community building. So let's talk about the whole importance of community. Why you have to have one. So a lot of people tell me, they say, look, I did a class. Nobody attended. I did a workshop. I wrote an ebook. I wrote this. I couldn't get anybody to buy it. I can't get anybody to listen to my broadcast. I can't get anybody to listen in, to follow me. People don't talk in my Facebook group, right? So all of that is about the community. It's about the community. And here's the real deal. While people like being part of a community, people are only going to participate if it's worth their time, if they're getting value. Okay. So we're going to talk about a lot of community builders make the mistake of thinking that the community is about them. And it's not about them. The community is about the members. So you have to constantly keep in the forefront of your mind, right? In your frontal lobe, you have to keep that in the forefront to say, listen, what can I create and add value for them today? Because people are incredibly selfish. They're incredibly selfish. What's in it for me? What's with them, right? What can I get today? What's in it for me today? How much money am I going to make today? What are you going to teach me today? They're like freaking kids, right? The world revolves around them. So here's the thing. You have to, as a community builder, feed into that mindset. You have to feed into that concept, because in return, as long as you're adding value, they will then start to buy from you, purchase from you, come to your events. But you have to have a community first. Now, the number one way that I build my community, and I tell this, don't get into it and be like, I can't do nothing with the community. I can't build one, but you got a following. Everybody starts with zero. When I started on Facebook, I didn't have any Facebook friends. When I started on Twitter, I had 0 followers. When I started on Instagram, I had 0. Everybody starts from 0. Okay? So now why do some people grow and why do some people not grow? For the most part, it's about the value that you bring. So it's about creating content. The more content that you bring that's valuable to people, the more people will follow you. So let's define this community, online community. Online communities can be wherever you have the largest following, right? So it can be on social media. It can be a captive audience like a Facebook group. It can be an email list. It can be wherever you capture the largest number of people and maintain their attention is really the biggest influence in your community. It's what I call your fish pond. Okay, your fish pond is where you go fishing. What happens when you go fishing? You throw in the bait, you hook the fish, you pull it out, you reel it out. Okay, so everybody has to have a fish pond. Now, guess what? There are other places that people operate, but you got to always drive people back to the fish pond. So if this is your Facebook group, if this is your Instagram, you got to drive people there. If it's your email list, you got to drive people there. You got to drive people to your fish pond so that you can have a place to feed them so that they bite. A lot of you guys are spending too much time spreading out your efforts in too many places, trying to be on all the social media platforms, right? And the truth of the matter is there's just not enough fish on certain platforms for you to get a bite. There's not enough for you to get a nibble, okay? Because understand, you're only going to get a nibble from a small percentage of people. Okay, so now let's get into the tips. So the first fun fact about a community is that it can boost your email list. So let's talk about this. I have an email list that I've had for years and years and years and years, probably 10, 12 years. I've had an email list, and I was never really any good at growing the list. Yes, I got the lead magnet on my site, and it kind of organically grows. Maybe when I do a push, it'll organically grow. A lot of people go to my site and blah, blah, blah. But it's kind of slow and steady. Haven't really been driving traffic. But the last 2 months, it's been going absolutely bananas for the last couple of months. So in the last 30 days, I've grown, my list has grown over 200 people, about 204 people, I think, have joined my list in the past 30 days. Now, here's why that's important, why that's interesting, right? Because I don't have any new lead magnets, right? Haven't done anything particularly different. Here's what has happened. What happened is I started emailing my list more, and I started periscoping more. So last month I did the 30-day Hustlemania. You know, I was on at 11 p.m. every night for like 30 days. And it grew my list. Why? Because I was more visible. That's the content that I was telling you about. Okay? That's the content that I was speaking to you about. You guys go ahead and share this with your friends and invite your people, right? The content that I was telling you about automatically generated traffic to my website. People automatically joined the list. Why? Because they want more information. So that's one thing, is I created more content. I was more visible. Okay. The other thing that happened is I've been emailing my list a lot, right? And now let's talk about that. I was so freaking nervous about that. I was absolutely nervous about that. So I've been working with a lady by the name of Tamisha Ingram on here, and she's been helping me set up all these new landing pages and helping me get the automations right for my email list and things like that. So I'm kind of like learning to do this because I'm a little bit old school in the way that I land clients, right? Pick up the phone, make a phone call, close the client, get on stage, speak, close the client. Well, last year I hurt my knee. And then I hurt the other knee. And so I really haven't been able to travel as much. So I hadn't been able to get in front of the audiences and close the deals. And so I had to look at a different way, right, of bringing in the same amount of revenue, the same amount of people. So what do? Let's look at hitting that email list. Okay. So I've been nervous, right? Because we had the 4 days. What was it? The Black Friday trilogy, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Small Business Saturday, Sell Something Sunday. We had those 4 days, right? So I hit my email list and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm nervous, but it's only 4 days. I got it. So hit the email list. Boom. Then we came up on, she's like, let's do 12 days of Christmas. So we came up with the whole concept, 12 days of Bossmas. We did that. So I'm nervous, right? I'm nervous as hell because I've only ever hit my email list other than, like once a week. So I'm like, oh shit, people are going to opt out. Oh, fuck. You know what I'm saying? So I started looking at some of my colleagues who always do this stuff. And I mean, I was fussing. I was giving pushback, right? Because I was scared I hate getting those unsubscribes, right? I hate getting those notifications that you've had to unsubscribe. I hate getting those fucking reports at the end of the week like you had 7 people unsubscribe. I was like, what did I do? Oh my God, they're leaving, right? Particularly when you work really, really hard to get people on that list with like pretty fucking opt-ins and freemiums and traffic drivers. And you do all of this shit to get people on the list. So when they leave, it's like every time they leave, it's like a heartbreak, right? And then somebody told me, listen, Jay, you pay based on how many people are on your list. So you basically paying for people to just sit there and look at you. Because if they leaving your list, that means they not reading your shit. They not coming to your events. They not buying shit. And what the fuck did you create an email list for, right? For them to look at your shit, for them to read your shit, and for them to buy your shit. So get the hell out of here if you ain't doing that, because I'm paying for you basically to say, I'm paying rent for you to sit here and look back at me. So that was kind of really liberating because I'm like, you doing me a favor because you're not here to purchase. Because at the end of the day, while I'm here to provide value and I'm here to provide service and I'm not all about the money, at the end of the day, I am still here in business to make money. I'm not all about the money, but I ain't trying to go broke either. Okay. So what I have found about the community is it will definitely drive your list. So that 12, I was so nervous, but my list, instead of shrinking, even though I had a lot of people unsubscribe, well, it felt like a lot of people, but I really had about the same number unsubscribe and subscribe, right? So, but what really happened was my list technically grew by 48%. Okay. And in the last 15 days, it grew by 48%. In the last 30 days, it grew like by 56%. You understand what I'm saying? So that was a matter of more visibility, more content, dumping the folks that weren't interested, bringing on the folks that were. So the community drives the email list. Guess what that drives? When it drives the email list, it drives the purposes, the purchases. Okay. If you've got e-commerce stuff, if you've got programs, it'll drive those purchases. Okay, so that's the number one thing that it did was the community list purging. Thank you so much, Latrice. The community, okay, drove my email list. They built the list. Okay, and so these lists are going absolutely crazy. Look, she gave much pushback, but it paid off in the end. Tamisha, I don't need you telling them about my little stubborn ways. Okay, I don't need you putting me on blast, but it's true. I was so trying to talk her out of that. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, the other thing a community can be for you is resources, okay? Whenever I need something, anything, the other day I went in the community, I was like, hey, is anybody here sell Mary Kay, right? My Mary Kay lady moved or something. I don't know where she is. So I need Mary Kay. It's resources, right? Not just business resources, anything. I can go in there and be like, does anybody know how to bedazzle a baseball hat? Y'all know I got a baseball hat cap collection. Look, whatever you do, it becomes a resource when you build it with qualified people. And if they don't do it, they know somebody. And if they don't know somebody, they know somebody that knows somebody that does it, right? So it becomes a huge resource. There is absolutely no reason for you to sit up here and say, I don't know how to use Canva. I don't know how to put together a funnel. I don't know how to do graphics, because somebody in your community should know how to do it. And if it doesn't, join a community that has qualified people in it. It's important to be a part of a community. If you're commenting, complimenting, interacting with people in a community, If you interact with people in a community, then they buy. Here's the thing, y'all. Don't get so caught up in that, though. Interactions. Lurkers are lucrative. I find that my people are not people that do a whole lot of conversing. They don't do a whole lot of talking. They don't do a whole lot of interacting. But let me put a sale on something and watch them sign up, right? You're going to find out. Watch this at the end, okay? So I find that lurkers are lucrative. So I don't worry about it. My people are thoughtful. Okay, so you'll find that sometimes people who do a lot of talking, they're absolutely not going to spend money. They just want to get as much information, as much interaction. They talk a good game, but they ain't all about that game, right? So I am not offended at all by people. I just keep posting great content because you know how I know that they're watching? When I see them in person, when they call me, when they make their consultation and they're ready to spend their money, they was like, oh, I watched all your videos. Oh, you said this one time and it changed my life. Whenever they get you in person, they talk to you, they tell you how to change their lives, but also my bank account reflects it because the people who spend money with me, I'd be like, how long you been in my community? Oh, I've been watching you for 3 years. I've been watching you for 2 years, but you ain't never commented. So don't get so caught up in they don't talk to me, they don't interact with me. All of that is great. All these people, they just talking, but they ain't spending a motherfucking dime. Okay, so don't get so caught up in the level of interaction. Look at the level of conversion. I'm going to repeat that. Don't look at the level of interaction. Look at your level of conversion. Okay. There are certain things that I do to test the group. There are certain things that only go out to my email list and nobody else gets. That's how I can test the conversion on my email list. There are certain things that only go out to my Facebook group and nobody else gets access if they're not in the Facebook group. That's how I can look at my number of conversions because nobody else is getting it. So if I start to get the conversions, I know where it's coming from. Okay. So again, number 1 is the community will boost your email list. Number 2, it'll boost your resources. Okay. Number 3 is it will feed your live events. I've had a lot of people this year talking about, I want to hold a live event. I want to do an in-person training. First of all, let's be clear. Taking on a live event is no freaking joke. Taking on a live event is no freaking joke because you got the overhead for the facility. You have to sell tickets to pay for the facility. You have to have, if you're going to do food, you got to worry about food. You got to worry about decor because we ain't about to go up in nowhere bootleg, right? You got to get training materials printed. It's no joke. It's no joke. So everybody likes the idea and the concept around it. But let's be clear. It is not a cheap thing to do. But before you can pull off a live event, you need to have enough influence to get people to spend money in person. There's a lot of people that will spend money online that will not fly to your city or drive across town to pay for an event. They won't. So that's a different level of connection, loyalty, value that you have to give. So here's how you test people to see. So the first thing that I did was I knew I wanted to do a live event. I thought it was going to be a women's retreat, but it ended up being a conference, right? So I knew I wanted to do one back in 2014, I knew I wanted to do one in 2016. So in 2014, I started with something small. I started out with my brunch series. Okay. I started out with my brunch series and that told me, so the first time I had 12 people, the next time, and that's all I was going for, 12 people. 12 people turned into 15, turned into 18, turned into 28, turned into 35. And that's how I grew. And that's when I knew, based on how that grew, I did it every other month for about 6 months. So I did about 6 of those. Okay. So every time I did it, the number grew and that gave me more confidence. So that's when I understood. And then when I started going to a lot of live events and people were asking for it and people were ready to buy tickets when I talked about it, that's when I knew. So I actually built that based on what I call a drip approach. Okay. So I did something small to see if it works. Then I did on a bigger scale. Well, here's what happens. When you have photos and videos of those smaller events and it has a great experience, people will get ready for the next event. And then they'll get ready for the next level of event. And then they'll get ready for the following level of event. So you have to have some proof that you can bring people out and that they'll pay money to be in your space. Right. And that they will pay a specific price point to be in your space. So you don't just up and do a live event. So how did I test these events to feed the live events? I started with my community. Okay. I built that community. So there's a lot of time and energy that needs to be spent on the community. Somebody inboxed me the other day. They was like, Jay, you've done all of these anthologies, right? You got all these books. Where do you get the women from? From the community. Okay, you had all these people to come to your live event. How did you do that? Because I talked to my community. So all these people follow you on Periscope. Why? Because they're part of my community. You know what I'm saying? The community is the answer to everything. Content, community, clarity. Those are the answers to everything that you can ask me about branding in some shape, form, or fashion. Okay? So that's it. Clarity. Clear about who your audience is and what they want from you. Community. Community is, the people who you're going to sell to. And content, that's how you create the community. And that's how you create the buzz. So those are the answers to everything. Y'all ask me these questions over and over and over again. And I'm like, okay, it starts with these things. So you're not going to really get a different answer because that's the mother lode. That's the grandmother of every problem that you're going to have in terms of marketing your business. 90% of it is going to be answered by those three things. Okay. And so the number 4 thing, fun fact, about community building is it helps you create passive revenue. Okay? Helps you create passive revenue. Passive revenue doesn't mean you don't have to do anything for it. It means that you don't have to do hours in exchange for dollars. So I still had to create some of these products, right? I still had to create some of these products in my online store. I had to create ebooks. It took time to do that. But once they're created, the only other time it takes is the time I spend to promote it. I don't have to deliver a service, right? They pay me some money and then I get coaching time. So that's in exchange $1. And $1 per hour exchange, a per hour exchange. I'm not doing that. I did the work, and guess what? I can sell that same product over and over and over again and not have to exchange any additional hours, right? I only have to exchange the time to push it and put it in front of people. So that's the definition of passive revenue. You get things like products, right? And your community will buy those products from you. And so that creates your passive revenue. That creates your passive revenue. So those are all the reasons that you want community. Now I can go into real detail about now how you actually convert that community to spend money with you, how you program the mindset to spend money. Because people say all of this all the time. My people just ain't going to spend no money. Well, the people in my audience ain't going to spend no money. They're not going to spend money with you because you're not pressing the right buttons. But then somebody like me can go into that group and they'll buy from me. And so there's a strategy and a technique to actually getting people to shift and buy and do things from you, right? I used to have the same problem. Where people would come into my group, or people from my community, my group would go and spend money with all these other coaches and they wouldn't spend money with me. And it was like, what the hell am I doing wrong? And then I kind of figured out a formula. I talked to some coaches that were doing it well and boom, now it's changed. So I'm going to give that formula to you. If you want to know how to get the formula for how to create content and convert clients to cash flow, convert the community to cash flow, type POP in the comments. Type POP in the comments if you want to know my secret, because I'm going to tell you how to get it, right? So, yes, Dr. Jerry. Yes, Dr. Jerry, honey. The Medical Moguls is up in here strong. Not strong, but strong. Okay, so for you guys, this is absolutely going to be amazing. So I am doing my very first live event in 2017 coming up on January 12th here in Atlanta, Georgia. January 12th here in Atlanta, Georgia. So now let me tell you a little bit about this event. First of all, it's called the Cash Flow Catalyst. It's called Cash Flow Catalyst. I'm going to give you the pricing, but before I give you the pricing, I want you to understand what I normally charge. Okay? January 12th in Atlanta. What I normally charge for people to sit with me for 4 hours, and I give you this blueprint where I talk to you and give you all this blueprint and say, this is how you reach your people, and this is how you reach your community, and here's your strategy, and blah, blah, blah. I charge $2,500 for that, right? No bones about it. That's it. There is no, yes, so there is absolutely no, there's absolutely no bones about it. There's no follow-up. You don't get to come back later. And you got one follow-up. You don't get with me for 10 days or nothing like that. You get me one time for 4 hours for $2,500. That's what my normal rate is. Okay? So I don't apologize for it. No questions about it. That's what it is. Now, other coaches who are where I am definitely charge more money. I understand who my people are and how they operate, and that's what I charge them specifically for that time with me. Now, guess what? Because, you guys see Tretta Bush on here, she's my accountant. Tretta and I sit down a couple of times a month and we go through what can we afford to do, what can we do. So here's what we do, okay, with the community building and cash flow. What we do, what we came up with is that I can take 10 people, okay? I can teach 10 people my strategies. I'm going to do a 6-hour training for $497. That is $497. Now, this is part of the 12 days of Christmas, 12 days of Bossmas situation. So there's a discount code that will get you. So when you go to the website, it'll say 2,500. Punch in the discount code. It'll discount it down to $497 for you. Okay. Where do you go to get it? You go to A Day with Jay. ADAY. WITHJAI, adaywithj.com. Go to adaywithj.com. Okay. So let me tell you, let's talk about what you're going to get with me. You're going to be there with me for 6 hours at an undisclosed location because I don't need people just popping up on me. But trust me, it is a beautiful, stunning location. I went all out for this location. I specifically wanted something that was beautiful and picturesque because this is going to be intense. I call it an intensive for a reason. So let's talk about this. You actually get me. I'm going to actually be there physically in person teaching a class. This is how you get your real questions answered. You get to talk to me. That's why I'm only taking 10 people because I can't give this one-on-one attention to 40 people. I just can't. It's way too much, right? So you're going to get a physical, like a course, little binder that tells you, all of this, your little worksheets and all the little cutesy stuff. But here's what we're going to talk about. Let me read from you the exact thing on the webpage and put my little glasses on. Okay. So you're going to we're going to talk about identifying and attracting paying clients. Now, I just told you guys something about identifying and the clients and how it works. Remember that clarity piece? I told you clarity was a component for how you convert. Okay, you've got to be clarity. So we're going to talk to you about identifying and attracting those paying clients. You think that they won't pay, and then if you've had if you've had a situation where you talk to somebody and then they don't buy your coaching and then they move over to somebody else and they spend way more money with them and they get way less value, there's something to that. We're going to talk about identifying that. Or the people that keep talking to you but don't want to pay no money. That we're going to talk to you about identifying paying clients. We're going to talk to you about the community building basics. There's a basic and an advanced way that you build a community to get them. So, so we talked about that fish pond. Right? We talked about that fish pond and how you get people in there and you got to draw in the bait and reel them in. There's some basic stuff that you got to do first. And a lot of people that are trying to build a community, they can get 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 people in a community. You did some of the great stuff correct, but then you messed up on some of the basic things. Okay. We're going to talk about training your community to buy. That is key factor. There is a way that you train them to purchase from you. You train them to buy. There is a psychology to how you get them to buy from you. Y'all are wondering why it's like $2,500, $497. I'm going to go over here and buy from Jay. Go to adaywithj.com. I want you guys to see how quickly these 10 seats are going to sell because there's only 10. Right? So by the time I hang up this scope, I'm going to go check my email and I'm going to see, and we're probably going to have between 4 and 6 people register after this. Okay. So that's how it works. There's a psychology to how you get people to spend money with you, training your community to buy. We're going to talk about creating content that converts. A lot of y'all are out here creating content and like, okay, well, I scope all the time, but you're scoping on stuff that nobody wants to hear about. You're scoping on stuff that doesn't convert people. You're scoping about things, or you're putting up Facebook Lives about things that don't lead people anywhere. So they're not actually going to spend the money with you. So let's talk about creating content that converts people to customers. This is what I think people are missing. This is not always about you being the expert. This is about creating the customer. And so some of us don't know how to create a customer. All right. Some of y'all is just boring, right? So we're going to talk about generating buzz with hot topics. Some of y'all are boring. Okay. Nobody's listening because you're giving them snorgasms. Okay. No more snorgasms. Somebody put in a hashtag, no more snorgasms, right? I'm going to teach you how to generate hot topics with buzz We're going to talk about creating consistent cash flow, because a lot of people get those big cash infusions where you get a bunch of people at one time and then it's a drought for the next 3 months, a drought for the next 6 months. We want to teach you how to create consistent cash flow. And then I'm going to talk to you about my exclusive cash explosion strategy. It's something that I do all the time. It works for me. I don't do it all the time, but every single time I do it, it works. Now, you get all of that, plus you get the book, plus you get me, plus you get this exclusive location that I'm going to tell you guys about later. You know, me and my team spent hours trying to figure out exactly where we want to do this for the first time out of the gate, because I want to do something new for 2017. So it's really a $2,000 discount that you're getting, right? You're getting a $2,000 discount to come and spend a whole day with me. And guess what? I'm going to feed y'all, right? Did I mention that? I'm providing lunch. You get to eat, okay? You get to actually eat. I ain't going to tell you I'm going to lay out the fixings and trimmings. It ain't going to be Thanksgiving up in there, because I need y'all to stay awake and stay focused, okay? Go to adaywithj.com. Now, here's a question for you. Okay, if all this did was teach you how to make your community lucrative, would it be worth the $4.97 for you? If that's all it did was you walk away and you know how to teach your community to buy from you, would it be worth $4.97? If you think so, write POP in the comments. If you think it'll be worth the $4.97 just to get your community to convert, type POP in the comments. If all this did was to get you if all this did was teach you how to build a community, right? Get people in your community, get people talking to you, get people leveraging you, get people paying attention to you, would it be worth the $4.97? Type POP in the comments, right? Type POP. If it's like, if I can just build a community, it'll be worth the $4.97 to me. If you think so, type POP in the comments. If all this did, right? If all this did for you, okay, was to teach you how to create hot topics that convert. The hot topics that convert, would it be worth it to you? If it would be worth it to you, type POP in the comments, because normally this is worth $2,500. That's normally what I charge for 4 hours of my time. Now I'm charging $4.97. So if it's worth it to you, then go to adaywithj.com and make your purchase now. I got 10 seats. Let me check the email and see if I got 10 seats. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to hit refresh. And we got 9 seats. Okay, just that quick. We got 9 seats. So somebody already went and bought a ticket. So I'm going to do this. When the 10 seats sell out, that's it. Okay, when the 10 seats sell out, that's it. $4.97. $4.97. So that's it for me. I'm going to look for you guys on the flip side. And I'm going to look for some more of you guys. That's all we got right now. So hopefully some more will come in just a minute. And I'll catch you guys on the flip side. I got to run. I got to get out of here. Go to adaywithj.com and we'll do this. So now, before I get out of here, I'm going to take 2 questions from you. I'm going to take 2 questions. Where are my questions? Go ahead and get them together while I go back over this, and I'm going to recap today what we talked about. We talked about 4 things that you can do, 4 fun facts about building an online community. Number 1 is it will boost your email list. Number 2 is it will help you build resources. Number 3 is it will help you feed your live events. And number 4 is it will help you create passive revenue. Did we have any questions in the gallery in the meantime? No questions? All right. Well, let me get out of here. I'm going to go. It is adaywithj.com, adaywithj.com, and we'll catch you guys on the flip side. Mwah.